Are you ready? 6 questions. 6 questions. Quick and easy. Describe the cause and effect of a particular event. Is that a DOK 1, 2, 3, or 4? If you look on your table, you'll see some web levels of knowledge. Use all resources available.
Okay, what's the question again? Describe.
Describe cause and effect of a particular event. Is that a DOK 1, 2, 3, or 4?
We need one, Ms. Shore.
I'd already done my answer, thank you.
We need one.
All right. All right, shake my head's in the lead. All right, recall elements and details of story structure, i.e. sequence of events, character, plot, and setting. DOK 1, 2, 3, or 4? Ooh, everybody got that one right. All right, question 3. Perform routine procedures like measuring length or using punctuation marks correctly. Five seconds. Apply mathematical model to eliminate a problem or situation. Apply mathematical model. All right. Ben took over the lead. All right. Develop a scientific model for a complex situation.
What was your first word?
Develop a scientific model for a complex situation.
Oh, yes, they are.
All right, use voice appropriate to the purpose and audience. Use the voice appropriate to the purpose and the audience. All right, so let's see who won the t-shirt. Susan, the nurse, won the t-shirt. Congratulations, nurse. Okay. So now we're going to go back to my little PowerPoint. Alright, so Webb's depth of knowledge, if you'll look on your table, and then also up here I put the level 1 activities, level 2s, 3s, and 4s. Now I did that because if you look at 1s, they kind of relate to 2s, and 2s, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, they interchange and they connect and they're so fluid, they move back and forth some. But this is kind of like how when you're looking at your standards, you know, just getting your kids to understand the vocabulary. Level 1, getting them to apply it a little bit deeper. Level 2, 3, 4, and so on. So, unpacking the standard, a sample case. So, of course, I teach math, so I said, all right, let's talk about ratios, proportions. Says that they will be able to solve multi-step ratio and percent problems. This is one of the things that across the board in the state of Alabama and at this school, ratios and proportions is one of those things that kids struggle with all the time. Okay, that's not just our kids, that's across the state. That is something that the state itself has been having tremendous issues with. So, if we were going to talk about student attainment, it says that students would be able to take this and solve and justify solutions using a variety of representations and solution paths. But, if we wanted to just say, okay, what can I get them just to know? If I can just get them to understand the mathematical context of percent and ratios, like 30% is 3 over 10. That's just level 1. That's a DOK 1. That is, I have gotten them to recognize that 3 over 10 is the same as 30%. And then also, techniques for producing ratios equivalent to given ratios, including finding unit rates. Of course, I teach graphic, so I teach them, up to over 1, the rise over the run, okay? And then we put it in fraction form. So that's just getting them to recognize it. But if I really want them to do well on my test, in standardized tests, then they need to be able to do these skills. And you'll see how those skills are a little bit more in depth, okay? Now let's say we give them a small word problem, not a very in-depth word problem, but just a smaller one, okay? And we want them to solve and interpret those solutions and what that might mean. And then if I wanted to do understanding for the DOK 3 and 4, that would be that they understand patterns and relationships. They don't just see the graph and see that the graph starts at 0. They understand that for it to be proportional, it must start at 0, and it must go up so many and over so many, and continue that straight line. So now it's time for Think, Pair, Share. And referring to the unpacked standards that I have on your tables, if you were to look at these, just inside these boxes, label 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? Just label 1, 2, 3, or 4. What do you think each little portion is asking you to do? Once you've done that, discuss your thoughts on the unpacked standards, and then share an idea of how you could use this in your classroom. I'll get you a math one.
I guess I need to be over there though. Just sit on this one.
Here you go.
Two. Oh, I'm afraid of Steve.
What's the question again?
Just where it says like student will understand, right here where it says like evidence of student attainment. Do you consider this a 1, 2, 3, or 4? Where it says level of attainment is what you're labeling. The level of attainment is 1, 2, 3, or 4. See the head says level of attainment. Okay. 1, 2, 3, or 4. How do you want to write it?
So
I did too. I told you. All right, when you've got yours ranked, if somebody could raise their hand, and let's go ahead and let y'all answer. All right, Miss Holiday, what have y'all found?
Okay, it's writing narratives to develop real or imagined experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and we said levels 2 or 3, because if they're writing a real experience, that's gonna be using a different set of verbs.
Right.
So that would be a 2. And then writing an imagined experience is a higher level, so we said 2 or 3 for that one.
That's great. Okay, so the reason this came about is when I was in EFD 620, my professor had us do learning objectives performance tasks. And it really made me evaluate what I was doing on my lesson plans as to whether I was really giving the kids the right action verbs for my objectives. Was I really challenging them? And so I left y'all copies of this little activity for reference if you want it. Because, you know, like during the summers, I like to go back and look at what I did previously and see if there's anything I want to improve upon. So I left y'all copies of this. So, you know, this is something to think about. And really, I want you to take this moment to kind of review the Unpacked standards, how we can pull those all up. You can go to Alex's website and pull those up. You can type in Unpacked Math Standards, State of Alabama. It'll pull it up. You can download it, look at it. You can put reading. Any subject that you think your kids are going to need help with. And then the learning evaluation, these same things are what's printed on here. So if you want to take that time to self-assess. And then revise your lessons as necessary. You know, if there's any revisions that need to take place, we're going to have time to do that over the summer break. And then we need to recharge and think about our depth of knowledge. We need to make sure it's directly related to student achievement scores. We're building blocks for all learning from DOK 1 to 4. You can't get to 4 without understanding 1. So you got to get 1. It has to be your base block. And then a new standardized test is coming. And from the people I have talked to that work in other systems that do testing in other systems, they've all said that it's going to be like a DOK 3 to 4 is kind of what we're looking at. So I don't know if that's how they're going to rank them, like we had with ART, you know, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or if that means they're going to do a standardized score, like what we're in a scaled score, like we have now with Scantron. That part I do not know. But of course, we know it's going to be standards based. And then these were my resources for this activity. And if you want me to share this with you, just shoot me a little email and I'll happily share it with you. But thank y'all for participating and helping me during this time. Thank you.